Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. Owlcat recently provided some content creators a preview build of what Rogue Trader will look like at launch. This updated version has the final mechanics for all the origins you can select, and I thought some of you might want to see a review of the different options. Please note, we will not review Sanctioned Psyker mechanics in this video, as I have already done that in a completely separate video linked below. During character creation, you select an origin, which basically describes what your role was before becoming a rogue trader. This is one of your most important choices during character creation for two reasons. First, it has a lot of influence on how you level up. Second, only to the archetype you select. Like homeworlds, you'll get a feature, characteristic modifiers, and a list of talents you can select while leveling up. Unlike homeworlds, you'll also get skill modifiers, and you'll get a list of characteristics and skills that you are able to increase during level ups. It's very important that you have upgrade options aligned with whatever build you are going for. The second reason this choice is important is, unlike most other decisions you make during character creation, there is in-game reactivity to what you select. You'll get unique dialogue options, and NPCs might respond in certain ways based on what you choose. Before we break down the mechanics, let me remind everyone that here at Slandered Gaming, we focus on RPGs, and more specifically, CRPGs. You can find builds, guides, and live streams for games like Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, Baldur's Gate 3, and Pillars of Eternity. If that kind of stuff interests you, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future content. Alright, starting at the top, we have Astra Militarum Commander. This is a character who previously served as a member of the Imperial Guard, the primary fighting force of the Imperium. This is the best origin for players who want to focus on ranged combat using guns. The feature you get is Regimental Tactics, which gives your entire party a percentage bonus to damage equal to 20 plus twice your perception bonus if they are hitting enemies adjacent to you or an ally. In addition, all of your allies take no damage from other allies' attacks. Obviously, the first part of this feature is fantastic. I've seen several instances where the second portion of this feature doesn't appear to be working, but friendly fire is a big deal in this game, so once that part is fixed, this will be even better. Keep in mind that this is only great if you have enough party members who get into melee range with enemies. If most of your team is ranged, then this will rarely be a difference maker. The origin will give you a +5 bonus in ballistic skill, perception, athletics, and medikai. It's weird that athletics is here, considering most ranged characters will completely ignore strength, but the rest of the modifiers are fantastic for any ranged build. Commander will also allow you to upgrade perception and medikai during your level ups. Perception is necessary to lower an enemy's dodge chance when you attempt to attack them, while medikai will make your med kits more effective and allow you to use higher quality kits. Both of these are great options to increase. You also get several talents that can be selected during level ups. Suppression Fire is triggered when you are affected by regimental tactics, and it gives your single target melee, ranged, and area attacks a 20% bonus to dodge reduction, parry reduction, and cover penetration if the enemy is adjacent to you or an ally. Same advice as regimental tactics. Technically this is great, but only if you have enough melee party members to trigger it often. Drown Them in Shots is triggered when you activate Regimental Tactics and gives all allies a 5% bonus to rate of fire for every attack they have made since the start of the effect. This only helps ranged weapons, so whether or not it is useful depends on the makeup of your team. If only your character will benefit, I would probably skip this. Friend in Need is also triggered when you use Regimental Tactics and gives you a bonus of 10 momentum anytime you kill an enemy who is adjacent to an ally. Once again, if you have a lot of allies getting into melee range, this is really fantastic, especially since it helps you trigger your ultimate ability faster. Unflinching Heroism is triggered when an ally uses a heroic act and adds +5 to all of your characteristics until the end of combat. At first this won't really be worth it, but by mid-game you should be generating a ton of momentum to trigger this all the time, and I would definitely recommend picking it up. Last on the list is Shoulder to Shoulder, which is triggered when you are adjacent to an ally and gives you a percentage bonus to damage equal to 10 plus your perception bonus against enemies adjacent to your allies. This bonus stacks with Regimental Tactics, and just like that feature, whether or not it's good depends on if you have enough allies who are going to engage in melee. If so, without question, this is a great pickup. Alright, that's all the information I have regarding the Astra Militarum Commander. Again, this is a great option for non-psyker ranged characters, especially if your team is comprised of several frontline fighters who will seek to engage enemies. Next up, we have Commissar. These are leaders responsible for overseeing members of the Astra Militarum. This origin is a fantastic choice for officers, especially if you want them to be frontline fighters. The feature you get is at all costs, and it makes your next melee or ranged single target attack mark an enemy or ally. If you mark an enemy, then when they are killed by an ally, that character will get an additional turn with 2 action points and 4 movement points. If you mark an ally, then all allies get an additional action point and 3 movement points for the next round. The first part of this feature is really nice because it allows your ally to move into a good position and then attack. I don't think it's worth potentially damaging an ally to give them 1 action point, so the second part is unappealing. Bottom line, using this can potentially kill an enemy without using up your 1 attack per round, and it costs 0 action points to use, so it is a great pickup. This origin provides you with a +5 bonus in weapon skill, fellowship, coercion, and athletics. Outside of athletics, this is all useful if you are playing as an officer. You will also be able to upgrade fellowship and coercion during level ups, which again is quite handy. Commissar provides a list of 5 talents you can select. Duty and Honor is triggered when an ally is under the effects of at all costs and causes that character to suffer 50% more damage, but they'll also gain 2 action points and 4 movement points, as opposed to 1 and 3 respectively. Some of the fights in this game are absolutely brutal, and raising the amount of damage your characters can take for 1 action point sounds like a recipe for disaster. Show Them Contempt is triggered when you are adjacent to an enemy and provides all allies with a bonus to resolve equal to half your fellowship bonus. If you are playing as a melee character focused on fellowship, this is absolutely a fantastic option. Motivation is triggered when you grant additional movement points to an ally and allows you to give them 2 more. This isn't worth a talent and I would skip it. Summary Execution is triggered when you kill a target with at all costs and allows you to use at all costs 1 more time for 0 action points. Without question, if you are going to use that ability on a regular basis, you'll want to pick this up. Even though it doesn't say it, I think Forward to Glory can only be triggered when you have marked an enemy with at all costs and momentum is less than 100 points. Killing the marked enemy or targeting an ally grants additional momentum equal to 20 plus twice your fellowship bonus. You can trigger this all the time since momentum plummets every time you use a heroic ability, so this is nice to have. Overall, Commissar is great if you want to play a frontline fighter who has officer capabilities. Personally, I prefer Noble, but that's more so for a ranged playthrough, and this origin definitely has its merits. Next on the list is Crime Lord. This is for a character who was a smuggler or a renegade operating outside of the law. It's fantastic for melee operatives who are focused on increasing intelligence. The feature you get is Surefire Plan, and you get a stack of that effect in an amount equal to your intelligence bonus. You can consume a stack to make 1 of 3 potential actions stronger. If you attack, then you'll deal additional damage, equal to 10 plus twice your perception bonus. If you move, then you gain a percentage bonus to dodge and parry, equal to 10 plus your perception bonus until the start of your next turn. If you use a non-damaging ability on an enemy, then that foe suffers a percentage penalty to damage, equal to 10 plus twice your intelligence bonus for 1 round. You can use multiple stacks in a single turn, and while this feature has a lot of moving parts, if you use it correctly, it's absolutely fantastic. The dodge and damage bonuses most especially are game changers. This origin gives you a +5 bonus to weapon skill, perception, awareness, and logic. All of this absolutely makes sense considering the type of build you would need to use. It also allows you to upgrade perception and awareness during level ups. Obviously, perception will help with your feature mechanics, and awareness is necessary to notice traps and hidden objects that are sprinkled everywhere throughout the game. You also get a list of talents to choose from. Killing Plan provides a percentage increase to the damage from Surefire Plan equal to twice your weapon skill bonus. Also, killing at least 1 enemy with an attack restores 1 stack of Surefire Plan. Without question, this is a talent you'll want to pick up. Escape Plan provides a percentage increase to the dodge and parry bonuses Surefire Plan can provide, equal to twice your agility bonus. Dodging or parrying 1 attack by the start of the next round restores 1 stack of Surefire Plan. If you use this character as someone who is expected to draw a lot of heat, this talent is a no-brainer. Disorienting Plan is triggered when you use Surefire Plan on an enemy and imposes a percentage penalty to dodge and parry reduction equal to 10 plus twice your perception bonus. Personally, I think the enemy portion of your feature is the weakest part and would skip this talent. Contingency Plan gives you a stack of Surefire Plan if you start the turn with none. Another talent you will absolutely want since you'll probably burn through all your stacks very quickly. Finally, the last plan is triggered once per combat if you have at least one stack of Surefire Plan and receive lethal damage. You don't die from the damage and instead are healed a percentage of your maximum wounds equal to 5 times your Surefire Plan stacks. This will also cause you to lose all your stacks and you can no longer gain Surefire Plan stacks. I have not finished the version of the beta Owlcat recently provided, but I did finish the last version and never came across a way to revive party members while in a fight. Therefore, you absolutely want to keep your people on your feet no matter what, and this talent is worth considering, even though it basically kills your ability to use your Origins feature. That's all the information I have regarding Crime Lord. Again, it's fantastic if you are focusing on intelligence, and Operative is probably the best option for that, unless you are playing as a Voidborn, which lets you go the officer route. It is rather complicated, but I like it. My third run of this game will be Benevolentia, and I am thinking about doing a Han Solo run combining Fortress World, Crime Lord, and Marksman. Next up, we have Ministorum Priest. This is for characters who are part of the Ecclesiarchy, which oversees the religion of the Imperium of Man. It's kind of good if you want to be an officer, but I'll just come right out with it and say, in my opinion, Priest is the worst option on this list, and it's kind of unfortunate that Argenta has it. This is because the Origin focuses on willpower, which is only a critical characteristic if you are a Psyker. Officers benefit from willpower when applying temporary wounds, but most of the other really important abilities focus on fellowship. Keep in mind that role-playing wise, this Origin may be fantastic. Anyway, Priest will give you the feature War Hymn, which grants momentum equal to twice your willpower bonus. It also grants additional momentum for each enemy that is either in a 5-cell radius around you or was hit by you. Obviously, generating momentum quickly is very helpful, so this is nice to have, especially if you have a decent willpower stat. Priest will give you a +5 bonus to Toughness, Willpower, Lore Imperium, and Metakai. Why are you getting toughness and willpower increases, but your skills are intelligence based? Again, role-playing wise this makes sense, but mechanically it's hodgepodge. While leveling up, you'll be able to increase willpower and lore Imperium. Again, the majority of characters will focus on multiple characteristics before having room to touch willpower. Lore Imperium is nice, but most likely you'll want a character who is focused on intelligence to handle passing those tests, so it's not really helpful here. Priest also provides you with several talents to choose from. Litany of Purification is triggered when you use War Hymn and causes all enemies in the area of effect to gain a stack of Disturbed. Enemies that are adjacent to you get 2 stacks. Demons in the area of effect suffer damage equal to the amount of momentum you restored using this ability. Disturbed places a -10 penalty on willpower and fellowship tests. This is great if you have a Psyker or debuffer who will challenge an enemy's willpower stat. Otherwise, it's probably not worth using, and again, I hate that this is the feature Argenta has. Litany of Hatred causes the priest and all allies affected by War Hymn to gain damage for single shots and attacks of opportunity equal to half your willpower bonus. This might be useful for your team, but most of the time I am using area of effects, melee attacks, and burst attacks, so this is worthless on my team. Shield of Fate provides a percentage bonus to armor equal to 4 times your willpower bonus against attacks from demons and warp damage. Also, your resolve is increased by half your willpower bonus. This is actually really nice, as there are a ton of demons and situations where warp damage is used against you, not to mention the increase in resolve. Definitely pick it up. The Emperor Protects gives you a percentage chance to ignore an enemy's attack equal to your willpower bonus. If you have been able to focus on getting willpower high, this is an incredible option. Finally, Flensing Faith applies to melee, flame, and melta attacks you perform against demons and psychers. It will add a bonus to damage equal to twice your willpower bonus and a percentage bonus to armor penetration equal to 6 times your willpower bonus. If these attacks are performed against Xenos, they deal additional damage equal to your willpower bonus and receive a percentage bonus to armor penetration equal to 3 times your willpower bonus. A few days ago, Owlcat did his live stream showing off co-op gameplay, and one of the devs mentioned that he sees Argenta as someone who should be using flame weapons. There's no way I'm putting my bolter down, but this talent is incredible and absolutely provides credibility to that argument. There are a ton of daemons, psychers, and xenos that you face throughout the game, and flame weapons are plentiful as well. That's all I have for Ministorum Priest. Again, personally, I think you should avoid this origin like the plague unless you want it for role-playing purposes. Next up on the list, we have Navy Officer. This is a character who was previously a part of the Imperial Navy, and even better, you were the commander of a void ship. Navy Officer is another origin I find to be mediocre, and surprise, surprise, there's a party member who has the origin, Abelard Wassarian. At least mechanically, it makes a little bit more sense for him compared to Priest for Argenta. The problem with this origin is that it feels kind of all over the place and doesn't provide cohesive upgrades for a particular type of build. The feature you get is Brace for Impact, and for one round, you and all allies in a 3-cell radius get +2 deflection for each archetype you have taken. For most of the game, this will be a +4 bonus. By itself, that's not a crazy amount, but if you put a few points into strength and throw on heavy armor, that will add more points to deflection and completely negate a nice amount of damage. You also cannot be forcefully moved or over-penetrated, both of which are fantastic to have for someone who's getting a lot of heat. Altogether, this is great for a tank or frontline fighter. Navy Officer gives you a +5 bonus to Agility, Fellowship, Commerce, and Demolition. Agility is great for dodging and initiative, while Fellowship is nice if you want to go the melee officer route. Commerce isn't all that great, but it scales off Fellowship and makes sense here. Demolition also goes well with being in the Navy, and it's absolutely essential to have someone on your team skilled in this area, so these modifiers are all good to go. You also get to increase Agility and Demolition during level ups, and again, they are both nice to have. So far, so good, right? But now we have reached the talents, and that's where things fall apart. Do Not Falter causes all your allies affected by Brace for Impact to not suffer the negative effects of melee superiority for the rest of combat. This is worthless because you should be fighting on the front line, and anybody on the front line should have taken the talent that makes them immune to melee superiority. Scatter applies to allies affected by Brace for Impact and allows them to only suffer half damage from attacks of opportunity. This is also useless because either you are a frontline fighter who will just attack whoever's in front of you, or you are a ranged combatant who has an ability that lets you escape melee engagement without taking an attack of opportunity. Perfect Timing applies to allies affected by Brace for Impact and allows them to gain 30% additional cover penetration, and you will gain 15% additional cover penetration. This is worthless because cover penetration only applies to ranged attacks. Brace for Impact is clearly for frontline fighters, and you would use it while you are on the front line, so most likely the allies who benefit from it will also be frontline fighters. Get Off Me is triggered when you use Brace for Impact and allows you to use any ranged weapon within threatened areas, knock enemies prone, and push them 1 cell away. Again, Brace for Impact is only advantageous if you are stacking deflection high, and you can only do that wearing heavy armor with a decent strength stat. That type of character is probably not using ranged weapons and certainly doesn't want to push enemies outside of engagement. This doesn't make sense. Finally, Get Into Cover applies to allies affected by Brace for Impact and gives them a bonus turn with 0 action points along with 3 movement points and increases their cover efficiency by 20% for 1 round. Again, the allies affected by this are probably frontline fighters who won't benefit from cover efficiency. Movement points are always nice, but by themselves it's not worth this talent. That's all the information I have regarding Navy Officer, and again, I find it pretty unimpressive. Since Abelard is supposed to be a tank anyway, having Brace for Impact is nice, but none of the talents help him. It will be interesting to see what kind of dialogue can occur between him and your rogue trader if you pick this origin. The last option on the list is probably my favorite outside of Psyker, and it's Noble. This character was part of the high nobility of the Imperium and is used to walking amongst the elite. I am in Act 2 of a Noble playthrough, and thus far the unique dialogue options have been fantastic and fit being a rogue trader like a glove. This option is tailor-made for Officer and revolves around using your party members to do your dirty work. Usually I find it boring playing the character who just buffs the party, but it's a ton of fun in Rogue Trader because you actually force party members to take extra turns, so there's a lot of damage directly involved in what you do. The feature this origin provides is You Serve Me, and it tags one party member as your personal servant. Anytime one of your abilities affects the servant, they get a +5 bonus to all characteristics until the start of your next turn. As a leader, it's completely possible to use 3 powers on your servant and guarantee all their bonuses will go up by 1, if not 2. Anytime your servants attack a target that you dealt damage to last turn, they'll get a percentage increase to critical hit chance equal to 10 plus your fellowship bonus, which should be sky high. The last line says you can only use it once per combat, but that's just letting you know you can only have one servant. These features can be triggered every single turn, and it's absolutely fantastic. Noble provides a +5 bonus to intelligence, fellowship, coercion, and persuasion. Intelligence is an outlier here and doesn't really fit, although it does from a role-playing standpoint. The rest of them are great for a leader, and persuasion is one of your most important dialogue skills. You can increase fellowship and persuasion as you level up, which is absolutely perfect. The origin also provides a list of talents you can choose from. You Do Something is triggered when you use an ability on your servant and gives that character a +1 AP on the next turn. This basically translates into your servant always having extra AP to work with, and it's fantastic. You Protect Me is triggered when you are adjacent with your servant at the start of your turn and provides both of you with temporary wounds equal to the servant's toughness bonus or your fellowship bonus, whichever one is higher. This is also great because there's no reason your servant cannot be a ranged character, so you both can hang back and then automatically receive extra wounds. Not a priority talent, but definitely one to consider. You Go On provides your servant with +2 movement points every turn. If your servant is consistently someone who needs to move quite a bit, like Abelard, this is definitely an option to consider, even though personally I didn't take it. You Kill It is triggered if your servant kills a target that you damaged on your last turn, and this provides you with +1 AP on the next turn. At first you use virtually all of your AP on buffing allies, and this won't be worth it. When you can pick up a second archetype, it becomes a lot easier to stack damage on an officer and attack more regularly, making this a legit option. Finally, You Are Next allows you to pick a new servant if your original servant has less than 30% maximum wounds. You cannot use this to designate a character who was already your servant in this fight. On hard or on fair, this might be worth picking up, but thus far on core, I haven't felt like this was really needed. Even if my servant dies, usually it's just another round and the fight will be finished, or I know I've been overrun and have to start over anyway. That's all the information I have regarding Noble, and again, it's one of my favorite options and a great way to make your officer archetype even more powerful. When we do a Let's Play of this game, I'll be an Imperial World Noble Officer. That's all the information I have regarding Origins and Rogue Trader at this time. I'll continue covering this game up through its release, so again, let me know down in the comments if there's any particular videos you want to see. Hope all of you enjoyed this video. Take care.